are we watching full through first, and then we're gonna break it down? Okay. So
yeah, we're just gonna watch it full through first, then then every like 15-20 seconds we'll break down and fucking do it.
They are heartless.
So beautiful.
Oh,
cinematics are fucking amazing though. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. The blood.
The menstrual blood.
Beat me to it. Was gonna wait till the second watch through.
Oh, you saw that he was sponsored by Monster. 3 little strikes down his nose.
Monster energy drink.
They murder and kill blindly.
Shit. Oh, he's a good person.
That one guy
dude was ready.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was so ready.
They scar the lands of England.
Oh, they're gonna start beating a little kid up.
Lands they will
Right, me
never
too. When I first
defend,
watched that, I thought he was literally about to pummel.
never love.
Like, too far.
The time has come to speak.
This is how I think I look,
in
but
a
then I look in the
language
mirror and I look like Johnny Depp on a bad day.
They will understand.
War for the Planet of the Apes. Can we fight apes? Is that a thing?
You know, I respect anyone that can turn out a candle with just 2 fingers like that.
I mean, he was wearing a glove.
That is true. He wasn't.
Oh, he cheated, that bastard.
And there's some symbolism there where he's putting himself in the dark, so it's like, it's cool. It's cool imagery.
He's like you, Cody. You cheat.
I didn't cheat. I'm a good person.
You cheat in wrestling, and this man cheats with the fucking glove.
Don't be mad because I'm a champion.
Fuck you. Oh.
Some people might say there's only 1/3 of For Honor, but I say it's completely different.
Oh, it's just For Honor 2. They're lying to us.
Ooh.
Oh.
Brutality, though.
The nape of the neck. You just
I love it.
Oh, his legs flew off. Oh.
Look at this
For
guy.
everyone.
Ooh. Oh.
He's a berserker, man.
Oh, the throwing
accuracy.
axe. Oh. No, my brother. Oh, Thor's coming, baby. The music is so fucking good, dude. Oh.
Starts hacking away.
It's Odin.
Yeah, but like, nah, Odin's not just chilling there like that. And Odin turns into a raven now?
Yeah.
No.
It's with us.
He got crows that watch out for him, man.
God. This guy's on some steroids, this fucking big boy. Oh! What the fuck, you man? Oh. Oh, God. So that's nothing.
Yeah, no, you're not walking after that. Especially without a limp.
You need to hit him with a judo chop.
Oh, God, the headbutt.
My favorite scene in the entire fucking shit.
Oh, right.
I knew he was gonna. I knew they were bringing back the blade. They had to.
Ah. He's like, oh shit. Cool. Alright, let's go.
Probably one of the best trailers I've ever seen, though. Honestly.
Assassin's Creed always has great cinematic trailers. It's just whether the game is anything like that really matters.
Alright,
Alright, so I'm gonna give you some general knowledge about Vikings now and stuff. So
you want to
Vikings, the actual don't play it yet.
Okay.
This is just general knowledge, just general shit about Vikings. Probably some of the research they had to do, for it. So Vikings, the term Viking actually doesn't really apply to them and stuff. They're actually Norsemen, meaning from the north. From like the icy plains of like top of Norway and Sweden, where they hail from. The Viking term actually just means to explore, to like go out and venture out and find new lands and stuff, which is really interesting, because people get that misconception. Vikings are barbarians.
Yeah.
From what I understand, they're going from Norway over to England.
Yes.
You spend the chunk of the game in England, so technically they would be Vikings, right?
Oh yeah, no, they're Vikings, 100%. They're exploring and stuff. Another misconception, like, you know, people think that they just raped and pillaged, that they're like Mongols, barbarians, whatever. A lot of them were actually farmers and traders and stuff, you know. So going back to like them taking over England, it's not to like pillage and stuff. It's more lines. They're trying to find greener pastures. They live in Norway where it's all ice and snow. It's hard to farm. It's hard to hunt. You know, there's limited supplies and stuff. So like. Part of the reason for expanding out, and I was telling John about this earlier, about historians, they're kind of on the fence of whether they're exploring to get away from Christianity or to like take over parts that had Christianity in it, or if they are just exploring because of overpopulation, because they need more land and stuff, because they need more resources and stuff. And so similar to like the Native Americans, Vikings actually like come from different tribes. You know, it's not a race or a religion or anything like that. Like technically anyone could be a Viking and stuff. It's about, but like they formed separate tribes that believed in like similar mythologies and stuff. You know, obviously the Norse mythology and stuff. One of their biggest innovations, longships, which you see a lot in like the trailer and stuff. Longships was one of their best innovations. Long, sleek, slender ships that were capable of getting to places fast and then capable of getting out fast and stuff, which made why they're so known for like pillaging and stuff, because like they're so efficient at it because of these ships. And I have more facts about the ships later, but we'll go into that when we're doing like more of a breakdown. So another interesting thing, Iceland was one of like the first places that they like set off to find these greener pastures, and then, you know, they found Iceland and then renamed it like they found like Greenland, but like they named it Iceland to like divert like other settlers and stuff. So I wonder if they'll go into that in the game, if we'll actually be seeing the settlement of like Iceland and other shit like that. So yeah, the reason why England specifically, they raided England, because like at that point there wasn't really an England, there was multiple kingdoms and stuff ruled by different people. But the reason why they specifically wanted where England would be is because like it was full of the most wealthiest people, so really good to raid. That's why they raided it constantly and stuff. And then just some other interesting facts, like we have like 3 to 4 days of our weeks named after Norse mythology, because all the raiding they did ended up translating to like how we have modern English. So it's like Tuesday is like some day, Thursday is Thor's day, and Wednesday is actually Odin's day, coming from like the North word Woden, which is how they pronounced it and stuff. So that battle that he sees Odin that you say is probably on a Wednesday.
Odin, that's some cool info right there.
On a Wednesday. The Viking Age kind of died out when the guy who was like the most well-known Viking king and stuff attempted one last raid on England and ended up dying and stuff, which was kind of like the end of the Viking Age. And then from there, all the other Vikings kind of like intermingled to eventually like die out in a sense, you know. So they weren't like wiped out by like forces or anything, they just intermingled, which goes back to like them just trying to find new lands, them trying to find a home and a community to integrate, you know. So it's like they weren't like raping and just pillaging like some of them were, but like others were just trying to find somewhere else that they can call home and stuff. And yeah, so that's my general knowledge on Vikings that I just found quickly and stuff.
That's interesting.
So yeah, now we can continue on.
I just want to be a Viking man.
You want to just murder people?
I just want to murder. Oh, the not so hidden blade should have just been a little axe on his hand.
Hussa! Alright, let's break this.
So yeah, Cody is right. You start in Norway. I believe.
Start in Norway. Yeah.
Norway around 730, I think.
Yeah, and what I've actually found out too. So if we're giving a little background, apparently, you can actually go back to Norway when you're in England. You have an option that you can go back and forth. It doesn't really matter. They'll actually allow that, which is actually pretty interesting. So you can like travel back and forth, which I just found out on IGN. So that's pretty interesting, and it goes back to from like the devs breakdown and shit. Like you see here, all of the Vikings are about home and settlement and community and stuff. So that starts off right away. There's probably the beginning of the game and stuff. You already see that like they're family people. They're not just like savages and stuff. Which goes back. Which in my own notes, this is what I have. The axe that you see that's in the log right there and stuff. You know, like doesn't that, even though it's like a wood cutting axe, it's still like a weapon that they would use for battle and stuff. Obviously, when they got into more
harder battles, they do bigger axes and stuff. But I like this, like the imagery there and stuff, saying that these axes, kind of like Thor's hammer, how a hammer can be used to create or destroy, so can the axes. You know, he's chopping wood to build homes, to build firewood to keep people alive and stuff, with a weapon that's usually referred to as deadly or for war and stuff. So there we go with like that conflicting ideology that like these Vikings are real people. They're not just monsters like the voiceover would say.
Mm-hmm.
And this man on the right with his cabbages.
Cabbages.
Cody, you can steal his cabbages, maybe.
Oh, I plan on it. Trust me.
Just cut them up.
Bliss.
And then just the axe right there, like nonchalant.
It was the most versatile. Even the little kid has an axe. It was just like the most versatile weapon, you know. Like it was very ingrained in their culture for battling and for surviving and shit.
Yeah, and then fucking Ivor walking towards the statue of Odin. So
that's for sure Odin and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is what like the devs were kind of saying. The statue of Odin here evokes a couple of things. One, how Odin's always kind of keeping watch, you know, from above and stuff. But this actually goes back to actual real North mythology, where they would have like these statues of Odin, where they'd have rituals where they give offerings and even do sacrifices before battle and stuff, which is what we're seeing here.
Yeah. So that scene.
So this lady just offering her menstruation.
I have a really interesting theory about this blood and stuff, John. If you want to pause that and stuff. So I was actually looking up some rituals for the Vikings and stuff, and I found two that were like super interesting. So a lot of the times, a lot of like these blood rituals were actually for Odin specifically, because unlike other gods, Odin's the type of god where you have to give in order to receive. So they'd make sacrifices, obviously, for like people or like humans and stuff, depending on like the situation and stuff. So I found two really interesting rituals. So I think it might be even a mixture of two. So there's the blot sacrifice, which is blood sacrifice, where they'd kill like an animal and then bathe its blood on the statue, on like the trees, on the people and stuff, you know, as like a sacrifice just for Odin, for life and for like good health and for living and stuff. But I found a really cruel Viking ritual that people still think might be even fake because it's so gruesome, called the Blood Eagle. And the name intrigued me because like Assassin's Creed obviously has a lot of imagery with birds and eagles specifically. That was like eagle vision, that was the original bird and stuff that they focused on. And in the Blood Eagle sacrifice, they basically string someone up with their arms like elongated like wings and basically cut them open and rip out their ribs and shit to like symbolize like eagle talons and shit. And they drop them on the floor and then rip out the ribs the other way through their back and stuff, like real wings, you know, while they're still alive. And I don't exactly know why they did it. It was just another one of like those sacrifices and stuff to like appeal to the gods and stuff. But it might be.
That would be a cool way to like transition from like the Norway to the England. Like you got somebody from England who came over who was like a spy or something, and like right at the beginning of the game they fucking string him up and, you know, do the eagle sacrifice.
Sacrifice him, yeah. I was thinking they might do a mixture of the two, where they might get a bird and string up the bird and then cut open the bird while it's still alive to get its blood to do the sacrifice. So it's like a mixture of both rituals and stuff.
Jesus.
And then just another interesting tidbit and stuff. Those horns that you see on like the priestesses shit, a lot of the times people misconcept it. Vikings did not have horns on their helmets and stuff. It was a stereotype based on the plays that happened hundreds of years later and stuff.
Yeah.
Only religious figures like the priestess and like statues and stuff like that carry like animal helmets with horns and bones and stuff. Meanwhile, the actual Vikings themselves, they wore animal pelts and stuff to embody the animal, especially when they went into battle. They would go into like a trance state where they just release their animal instincts, and that's why they'd wear like the pelt of the animals they killed. Whereas the priestesses, they would use the horns and stuff like that. Things not necessarily like part of the animal, but like used for purposes of that nature.
It's interesting.
So it's interesting, yeah. So yeah, the whole Vikings have horns on their helmets, fake. Priestesses and religious figures had them though, and regular people just had animal hides.
God, that's so fucking beautiful.
Fucking love the imagery so fucking much.
No, it's really good. And then I guess that's you apparently like setting off. Yeah, you might not bring everyone.
Title crosses the stream.
Actually, didn't notice it the other times watching. That's probably one of Odin's crows following them, watching over him.
The Raven. Yeah, 100%. No, 100%.
Oh, that's so cool, that imagery. And then that, oh my god.
Greener pastures, yes,
Greener
yes.
pastures, yes.
And with the long ships, like I said, we're about to see them like raiding a village for say, but like I said, like with the long ships, fast, light, slender.
So
they're used to they're long to carry more raiders and stuff. They're light and slender to be more faster, more maneuverable and stuff in case of like war battle on the water and stuff. They could even go backwards, and they can work without wind because of like the rowing and stuff.
Yeah.
They're just such an innovation and stuff. And I love how we're seeing that technology be utilized, like we actually see it realistically.
The fucking pillaging of the fucking Vikings, murdering.
Oh, they killed a horse.
Yeah,
That's
just
fucked.
which I realized. Yeah.
Super fucked.
And killed blindly.
Hello, babies.
And then
That dude was ready to murk them.
yeah,
He was so ready. But here we have like the conflicting ideology now. Did they just go there just to find new land, and then maybe the other people thought they were invading and started attacking them? Because like at least our main character here doesn't seem like he wants to fight. So are they really raiding, or are they were they caught in a bad situation?
It could be that they're caught in a bad situation. They might want a compromise where they can be like have like a settlement all together, but probably their people don't want to, and that they started the war, and basically now it's your time to like try to finish it. So that could be like a possibility.
So like
I mean,
said,
back to what Josh was saying, it probably is that the they saw the Vikings coming here, and with the what the king was saying when this is popping up is like they just murder without thinking.
Yeah.
It's like they're spreading propaganda about them, so it makes sense that they would attack first, is like preemptive, you know.
But I said, like, this game so far has been showing kind of like the softer side of Vikings and stuff. How like I said, I was telling John, most of the records from Vikings are from their victims who survived and stuff hundreds of years later and stuff, regaling the tales and stuff. So it's like they're like Vikings, from what we know, are not what they really were. They're just people looking to, like, as far as we're concerned, they wanted to get along with these people and integrate with their culture and stuff. You know, different cultures getting along. But obviously, like we see here, that doesn't always go right and shit.
That's never really worked out when Christians are involved.
And I like to point out at this point in the game, like the devs did say that you get to choose as a female or a male character, both by the name Eivor and stuff. So I think that's super interesting. You know,
I hope
like,
this time it actually like affects the story a little bit.
I think
some type of way.
I don't think it really will, because when I was reading IGN, because they put out a couple of things, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will find Eivor, a Viking raider who leads the people out of Norway into the Kingdom of England. Players can choose a male or female Eivor and customize their hair, tattoo, clothing, war paint, and gear. So it seems like the story will just be the same. So it's just going to be that you're either a female or a male. I don't think it really makes a difference.
It's personal preference if you want to be male or female.
So yeah.
But it would be interesting if they did something like in Syndicate, where like even though you could choose whatever weapon you wanted, it was more likely that if you played as Evie, you'd use her staff, and then if you played as Jacob, you'd use his kunai knife. So it could be something like that, like maybe gives you like more specific weapons if you chose a certain gender, maybe, you know.
Like maybe.
I mean, it switches up how you play, but not really like, story wise, because like that's easy replayability. Just tell a wee bit different story.
Well, I was thinking
from a different perspective of the person in, that society. I'm sorry, what?
No, I was also thinking too, if they want to change like the weapons wise, they could do where with Eivor, the male character, they could give him shield and axe, and then with the female Eivor, or whatever they end up calling her, just give her double bladed or double axes. So
Eivor.
Well, actually, I'm going to talk about that later when he's in like the big battle and stuff.
Yeah.
But they stated that you can dual wield weapons, and
Yes.
I actually have a funny note here. You can dual wield shields.
Shield, yes,
said.
which I watched too. Yeah.
Just turtle up.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is rad. It's really cool, and I think like that, and also like the customization with like the war paint and like all that. That's like really cool. Like the clothing and the tattoos.
Yeah, keep it moving, folks.
Ooh, she's on fire.
Scar the lands of England.
So then we have their settlement. So this is probably like the settlement that you end up like building.
That's
So
yours,
the
and you end up building.
See, this is gonna probably be the church, because look, it does look like a church.
or like a hall, like a meat hall,
or
and
a
shit,
meat
or like
hall,
a
yeah.
mess hall and stuff. So yeah, there's actually a couple of things I want to talk about here and stuff. One, just like visually and stuff, the statue they're erecting and stuff. Notice how the statue has a shield on its side, but not
Yeah.
really like the sword. I think that's the sword it's holding, like,
Or it
but
looks
it's
like a
holding the
staff.
sword or a staff, and it's holding
Yeah.
it downward, not aggressively. The statue is evoking peace, prosperity, you know, like growth. They're building and stuff. So it's like, once again, you have those like conflicting ideologies that, like, this guy saying that they're like scarring the land, but they're actually like cultivating it. They're farming and stuff, you know. So it's like, obviously it's gonna be more of like, you obviously know, like, you know, like who's the bad guy and who's the good guy. But like, I still like how like they're almost making it like they're trying to make Vikings the bad guy, but you know they're not. But like, you know, you're also killing a lot of people, and obviously you're still infiltrating this land and cultivating it. So it's like, it's still not, they're not 100% good guys, but they're not 100% bad guys. You know, it's like, especially because, like I was saying before, England at this time is fractured and stuff. There's many territories, many different kings and stuff. So it's like, them coming here specifically, it's just upsetting this one king, or is like Alfred, like the main Templar king who's narrating this, is he just like super evil and gonna try to get all the kings against the Vikings and stuff, saying how the Vikings are invading their lands even though they're all separated. And that goes into another point of gameplay. So similar to like Syndicate and like Odyssey and stuff, there's like how different zones had different levels of like where you had to be to fight. You know, like some you had to be 32, some you had to be like 50 in order to fight, because there's stronger people. They could do that too. So now that England's broken into territories, you have to defeat the territories themselves and the king and stuff to gain that territory, to unlock maybe more stuff for your community, to grow your community bigger, like how it is in Red Dead Redemption 2, where the more missions you did, the more money you gained, the more things you were able to get in order to upgrade your main village. So I think that could be an interesting way how they did in a lot of other Assassin's Creed games, where you're like going territory by territory, unlocking it, and other territories are like stronger, so you have to level up in order to take them on.
Yeah.
So I love this village thing, because you might also get multiple villages. You might just be going around creating multiple communities and stuff where you can stop at.
Well, with the deluxe edition with the season pass, apparently you get to unlock more locations. So I guess you can upgrade more locations as you progress, because more on the settings from IGN. They said Valhalla set in the 19th century Europe, as Ivor's Viking community travels between Norway and the four kingdoms of England, Wessex, Northumbria, East Anglia, and Mercia. Through the players can then drastically go back to Norway whenever they want. So you're going between different kingdoms. So I guess you can make different settlements along.
So
like,
yeah, maybe in each territory you make a different settlement, which is like your home base in that settlement until you take over their entire thing, which helps back in Norway. You know, maybe upgrading the shit back in Norway. Yeah. And the devs did say like the choices you make will affect your community, how it grows and how it like acts and stuff. So I love that like real world aspect of it.
Yeah, they even go into saying that they want to make the settlements feel like a player's home, which can include a ton of buildings, each with unique gameplay purposes. Several events happen based on how the player grows their settlement. So, I guess, like, how often you go back and, like, upgrade your settlement will, like, determine, like, parts of the game. So, like, I guess, like...
Maybe like, the difficulty of certain parts.
Yeah,
at least.
So even, like, a cutscene, like, say you guys are getting, like, attacked by England... and you don't have like the proper like stuff that should be set up, it'll affect you going forward from that battle. So little mechanics like that could change the game itself.
Oh, 100%. And like going back just like this little scene real quick and stuff, I love how they're still showing you like the culture. So like, you know, like how lion cubs and stuff, like they'll bite their parents and like the lions will pretend to be hurt and stuff like this.
Yeah.
You see this similar like take with like the Vikings and their children, like they're play battling, but it's like, you know, like they're practicing, because like even from like a young age they're meant to be resourceful, you know, either working or battling and stuff. So I love like the world building of how accurate it is, which like Assassin's Creed has always gotten right, but something just feels so much more natural about this.
With this, yeah.
Never love. The time has
and then King Alfred.
This man just seems like one of those like wisty mustache dudes twirling his finger through the...
Yes. Pause it, John. So just I want to just note a couple of things. One, this guy is known as Alfred the Great. So he's literally the only English king to ever have the title of something like that.
Yes.
Like it's usually Roman titles, like Alexander the Great, Caesar the Great, whatever and stuff. He's the first one to ever have this title, and historically he's actually known for battling off like the Vikings during their invasion. You know, during that time, he's like the most known king. So obviously he's more like the main protagonist of this. But something I do want to note and stuff. So look at like the symbols, like on his scarf, on his shirt, even on the crown and stuff.
Yeah.
So like people like you actually might mistake this for like the Templar symbol and stuff, but it's actually not. It's actually a symbol for the House of Wessex and shit. It's the real symbol for like the whatever the faction that he's working for or whatever. You know, like I said, England's broken up into like different parts. So like whatever the House of Wessex, that's actually the symbol. But I love how like the Templar symbol does also look like that, meaning like the Templar symbol has been derived from like symbology of like these kind of like evil tyrants and stuff. You know, like even a cross can resemble like the Templar thing, showing like the oppression of like cult and religion and stuff. And like just how bedazzled he is in it is definitely sending that message and shit. You know, like on his chest, you know, on the scarf, on his mind, you know, like on his head, it's like showing these symbols explicitly, not just saying it's like House of Wessex, but like this guy is decked out in his ideals, and obviously in his ideals will be mixed with the Templars, and even his like assistant there, all dressed in black, like normal Templar attire, usually some kind of black garment and stuff. So I like how like the king's actually running the show, and he might not even himself realize that he's working for the bad guys. Meanwhile, this his assistant, who's obviously a shifty. Look at that shifty ass face and stuff. He's Templar #1. Look at him.
Templar #1. Yeah, pretty much.
He looks like he should be on Impractical Jokers. Like, who is this man? Who the fuck is this man? I need to know more about this man. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. How like it's like a real symbol like that he's wearing, but it could be easily referred to as like the Templar symbol. So that's super interesting to me.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say like go forward a second, Johnny boy.
Language.
Like, how many fucking Templar symbols do you need in this one image? No, keep going, keep going.
Oh, you need a lot.
Da 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 da.
On the chair,
like
the cross
20 on
him.
his chest alone,
Yep,
2
pretty
on
much.
his nipples. There's one on the chair. There's another cross above the chair that you can't see right now. The
100%.
cross behind him.
There's
It's
one on
like
his
4
ass.
on his crown.
Yeah, there's one
It's
on
all
his
Templar
ass.
imagery, but also religious imagery that's accurate, which is super cool with the world
Oh,
building.
oh, and look at the banners to the left. They're even up there. They're trying to hide him, but I saw them.
Cody, instead of saying juicy on his ass, it just has the Templar symbol on
It
it.
just says Templar. And just interesting to note, if you go back to like the deed that he was signing with like the candle and stuff, so he says like these are like assholes, like savages, you know, like they can't be reasoned with, and the only thing they know is war. So one, I love how he wrote out war in the candle, but then also wrote out the Viking words for war, which I'm assuming that's what that is, next to it and stuff, which means that he knows how to communicate with them. He's just choosing not to. He's just choosing straight to go to war because he doesn't believe they can be talked to and stuff. So it's like, I love that, like, it's like that building is like, they know, it's not like they don't speak Norse or they don't speak Viking. Obviously, they have ways of translating or communicating. They're just choosing to, like, battle and so on. Choosing's a hard word because, you know, like, no one really chooses to go to war besides those who are, like, truly
Except
evil.
these assholes with 20 Templar symbols on them at any given moment.
But that might be a misdirect. That's what I'm saying. He might not even know he's working for the bad guys. He might just be a puppet for all we know.
Oh, it's the shifty eye fat man behind him. He's the real bad guy.
He's the real boss villain of this game. But I just love that how it's like war and then war and Viking words and symbols and stuff. So it's like you can talk to them. You're just choosing to fight.
Oh,
Assholes.
Assholes. Oh, like a boss. The ships.
Oh, it's raiding time.
Dude, that's so cool. Oh, and then you said the female right there, yeah.
Oh god, she looks like an ogre.
No, I don't think that was even a female because what, like the long blonde braid? No, it just looked like a dude.
Really?
Me and John are talking about a theory, Cody, that we'll talk about later during the fighting scene. I mean, I guess you can say it's kind of like it looks like a female, but in this scene it looks like a dude, so it's like...
It looks like Fiona from Shrek,
Yeah.
but like mid-transformation. This dude's like, what?
Oh, that
Who said
scene.
shields?
That scene, bro. Oh, just all the arrows.
I do love that scene, how the one dude gets hit in the neck and stuff and shit.
Mhm.
Oh,
It's like,
right,
oh wait,
the neck.
shields? Oh, that's what he said.
But it's interesting. Something I just finally noticed on their shields, they all have Odin's Raven on them.
Raven, yeah.
Because he's always watching.
He's always watching. Yeah, I didn't realize what was on the shields before.
We got the battle.
All right, so right here, I want to make like a lot of notable points and stuff. So,
Oh, God.
Cody, which you might know and stuff, but like I'm just gonna talk about anyway. So they, like I was talking to John earlier, they have two different mechanics. There's raiding, where it's like when you're playing the game, you can just go around and start raiding people, doing like hit and runs and shit on like villages, this and that and stuff. Like, I took your stuff, you know, all that good stuff. And then, but what we're seeing right here is one of like what's called like a big battle, which is like happens during important game moments and stuff. That'll probably happen like probably a couple times throughout like the game and stuff, probably at the beginning during this part when you're invading England, and probably like another couple parts. But these are like the big battles,
They
which
kind of had that in like Odyssey, right?
yeah, they had stuff similar, yeah, where it's like huge all-out war and stuff. But this time it's with like a brutal ass Viking and shit. They can go around like smashing people's faces and stuff. But like, yeah, there's like when you're in these types of situations, it's more like gameplay type of like scenery building type of shit that's gonna happen next.
I'm actually gonna add on top of what Josh was saying too. Also from IGN, they were saying that Ivor and the Vikings will face a strong Saxon resistance from King Alfred of Wessex, and decisions will have to be made in the story, including dialogue choices and political alliance, which will impact the world of Valhalla. So everything that you do will have an impact, along with like the political stances too that you end up going with King Alfred. So everything that like the war, everything will have a consequence on how it will affect your people too. So that which makes
So
it
you
fascinating.
basically either make friends or enemies to build
Yeah.
up for the final or the finale.
Yeah. So basically, it's your choice
I
of
like
political
that.
alliance. Yeah, impacts the world. So.
And as we're seeing in these cinematics, the dev team said that like all these like abilities that we're seeing are gonna be like moves that you can do in the game, like running with a spear, stabbing people with spears, axe throwing, shield blocking. Like before you see Igor and like Eeyore, whatever his name is, in like a few scenes,
Ivor,
literally Ivor tossed the axe at the guy's head, which you can do. You can dual wield axes, dual wield shields. So it's like, I think they said you can dual wield every weapon in the game. So imagine double spear and shit.
Well,
I just want to be the double shield man, just running around turtling up.
But I love when they do that, when they actually show like all these like moves more or less you can do in the game during actual battling, and I love that and shit.
Poor gay.
Now, who do you think this man is to him? Just like a friend, his papa, guy who raised him?
I was thinking like older brother or Faja. It was definitely one of those, in my
Mentors.
opinion.
or
Yeah.
best
Yeah, some type of
friend.
mentor maybe.
I
So
love
this-
this, such great scenery. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to. There's a
When we
lot
get
to break
closer.
down here. Like, yeah, keep it running for a few more seconds till we see the eagle or the raven.
So then there we go. So we got this mystery person.
So, like, yeah, there's a lot of theories going around who this man is. Is he an assassin? Is he Odin? Is he the Raven itself?
So there we go. We got the Raven flying.
And then he says, Odin's with us, and then we'll pause.
Pause.
Alright, pause. Yeah, pause. So, let's see what Cody wants. Cody, who do you think that man is? Let's just see what Cody
Let's
thinks.
throw one back.
What, the tree dude?
Yeah, the tree dude.
I mean, it. I don't think it has a big enough beard to be Odin. It's not
Right,
giving
'cause,
me
like,
big Odin vibes.
In the statue before we saw, he had like the double knotted beard, and even though like obviously his appearance can change from that, it just does. This guy doesn't.
Oh,
seem like Odin.
maybe it's Loki trying to fool them.
Ooh, see, that's another possibility. Me and John were talking about. How deep are they going to get into the mythology of Norse mythology? Will you actually be seeing Thor, Loki? Will you have side missions, kind of like in Odyssey, where you fought like mythological beings and creatures like the Minotaur and like the Sphinx and stuff? Will you be fighting like frost giants in this game and shit like that as a side mission or something like that? So
I mean, I always prefer stuff that like kind of like alludes to it, but like never really gives you like the full answer. Or shows you something like right in front of your face.
I've depicted it. Priest. It's a priest. It says P-R-E. See?
It's a priest who can turn into a bird. That's some
It
magic
says
shit right there.
PR. It's going right at the priest. See? I thought it was going crazy. It looks like a
no, this is what I think. I think
Of course, it's been right in front of our eyes the whole
yeah,
time.
it's a priest.
this man has like the hood up. He's evoking like classic Assassin's Creed imagery and stuff, but then he turns into like the Raven and stuff. So I was telling John, I think this man that we're seeing is the Raven, and it's the Mind Raven, and he's showing Igor and stuff like his destiny that he needs to go down and stuff, which would be with the assassins and stuff. You know, so after he sees them, that's his signal. It's like, you need to go with the assassins, and then he flies away, you know, in Raven form to go inform Odin and stuff that like he sent the message and shit. And I think it's like very important that it's the Mind one specifically, because Eeyore is the only one who can obviously see this man, or at least notices
Ivor.
it and shit.
Ivor.
See your Igor.
Ivor and stuff. And then
But,
he's like,
I mean, like, he has like his not so hidden blade, so he kind of has a relationship with the assassins in some way or another
already, yeah. No, the devs say that at this point in the game, he at least meets with the assassins once, and then like they said a lot of spoiler shit. So it's like they're like, oh yeah, we really can't tell because it's kind of spoiler, but like we're trying to interweave it. But yeah, he has met the assassons at this point because he has the blade and stuff, which we'll get to when we actually see the blade.
Yeah, did they say they get it early? They said he gets it like
you get it early on, yeah. Which like we'll go through like the
I
theory
hate
of
going
how.
half the game without that shit.
But yeah, so I think it's the Raven and stuff, and he's sending the vision of the mind to this guy for Odin, because remember the whole sacrifice earlier. They sacrificed something for Odin
that
and
big
stuff.
Motherfucker.
Oh, like the sacrifice is to give favor and stuff. So he got favor from Odin right here and stuff, which is why he's like got the adrenaline and shit.
Oh, the leg shot.
He's fine.
Dude, that man should be fucking crying.
Yeah, the devs were talking about how they're gonna have quite impressive enemies and stuff, where it's like the enemies will be ranging from different levels, and then you have like these big bosses who are just super fucking tough and shit.
He has
that
rope.
are not easily taken down.
I can rope
He's just on drugs. He's on steroids. He's on medieval steroids.
That
That's
man
what it is.
definitely on some medieval steroids.
But I did want to make a point earlier because me and you were talking about it, John, but I wasn't telling Cody. So there is this word in Norse mythology called Injerjar and stuff. I pronounce that so bad, but like that's basically the word, and it means army of one and those who fight alone and stuff. And basically the word is given to those who've died in battle and stuff and are going to Valhalla with the help of the Valkyries and shit. So I was saying and stuff. So usually seeing Odin on the battlefield is either a sign of like you're gonna die and stuff because it's been associated with death, or that you're living and stuff, that he's grant you his favor on the battlefield and stuff. So it can go.
It's definitely either life or death. It's definitely one of those.
Yeah, for sure. So it's like he just
polar opposites, but yeah,
So I know it's weird. So it's like if we're going with like that was like Odin just embodied, and then he disappears in a raven form to disappear and shit, whatever and stuff. Him seeing Odin could be like a symbol of death and stuff, and when so he could have died at that moment per se and shit, which is why in the next scene he's fighting this dude one-on-one, an army by himself, an army alone and stuff. It's because he actually died there and shit. And I was telling John after he sees like the Odin figure and stuff, then that's when you finally see like the first female character behind him and stuff, like another Viking character and stuff, which like I haven't seen in like previous battles and stuff, which I was saying that could be like a sneaky way of it, like symbolizing like that they're the Valkyrie, the woman warriors who's leading this man to Valhalla, really the name of the game and stuff, saying that basically he's dead, but he has a purpose to carry out with the assassins first and stuff.
I mean, yeah, assuming that the mid-transformation Fiona we saw earlier wasn't in fact a female.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that'd be really interesting imagery, interesting, like literally diving deep into like the Norse mythology, and then the name itself, Valhalla, where it's like he's a dead man in a sense, but he has to carry out certain things with the assassins for like history to go on and shit in a way. So that could
he's got a destiny.
Also, more information on the combat system again from IGN. They were saying that the greater variety of enemies, Valhalla features dual weapons to use against a greater variety of enemies than ever before. Its gear systems will balance gameplay benefits with visual customizations. A player choose what they will bring into battle and what to leave at the settlement. So certain weapons you'll be able to bring, certain items you're going to have to leave. And then as I showed the picture on Discord, you have an option between the axes, the shield, the sword, the mace, the hammer, that fucking weapon that's like on like the chain, the one with the spikes.
Mace.
The mace, yes. So there's like different weaponry, so it'll balance itself via gameplay what you decide to bring onto the battlefield itself. So.
Alright, Rohan, run that shit back to like the
Fuck
tree
people
man.
up.
The tree man?
Yeah, I just want to see this scene over because it's so fucking dope.
Right about there, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Fat man. Oh, the music, man. Just gets me pumped.
Like
he
the whole
doubled it.
lightning and thunder and stuff, it's definitely evoking Thor too, which like this could be Loki, as Cody was kind of theorizing. It could be like the two suns as well as the two ravens. Maybe the two suns, Thor and Loki, are the two ravens. You know what I mean? Overlooking what's happening.
Thor's watching over, clapping, you know, there's thunder going on, and Loki's like, let me just fuck with his entertainment real quick.
I'm gonna be a bird. And then you see the female warrior behind him, and it's just like, you know, I think my theory is obviously not correct, but I think it's interesting. You can think about it like that.
Oh,
And I love how like
away.
the sun's starting to shine as well. He just tosses the sword like it did nothing to him. I wonder if your weapons can actually break in game like that
They
too.
probably can.
Like they have a lifespan.
Oh, just like Witcher.
My favorite scene. Yatta!
That fucking.
I knew they were gonna bring the blade back. I just like, you know, like I kind of like said like maybe they'll go like a different route with like maybe like a sharpened rock that he has that he uses as a blade. But I'm so glad they brought
Telling
the
you, man,
blade back.
mini axe on the wrist. It would come in handy.
That's like Sekiro though, you know, just like axe hand.
I think it's like really cool that it's like on top and it's not hidden. I think that's a really interesting.
Yeah,
That's
actually
great symbolism for Vikings. They don't hide their weapons.
the exact words that the devs use where it's like it's a kick-ass weapon, why hide it?
Yeah, really.
His Viking thoughts exactly and stuff, which I mean I love it because I mean that means at this point he definitely has met with the assassins, and like obviously like I think me and John were kind of like theorizing it could be something where it's like the assassins were like warning them about like not going to England, or they'll be like exterminated, or like they'll have to fight a war, and like he's like, well, we're still gonna do it and stuff. So that's where he gets the blade. They give him the blade. It's like, we want you on our side, you know, we need your help and stuff. So he gets the blade and then comes here and now has to fight in this war against England and all these factions and stuff. So he definitely gives them like and if all these kings are Templars, it gives him and the assassins a common enemy to fight alongside with. So obviously he's not a traditional assassin, so he wouldn't wear it the traditional assassin way. He wears it as a weapon, not as a concealment. So yeah, I love that it's on top, and I love how forcefully he uses it and shit. Really like flips the perspective on like who's really an assassin. Because even like in Black Flag, you're like a fucking pirate turn assassin, you know. So it's like assassin could really be anyone who's willing to fight against evil, tyranny, Templars. If you still want to say the Templars are bad, because you know me and John were like going back and forth saying it's like, you know, like it'd be interesting if they did like a game where you're like a Templar, but like they show the Templars as good people, and they kind of have the whole rogue thing. But even then, it's like, yeah, you're a bad guy, you know, because you're a Templar. Be interesting if they flip the script with this Viking thing. We thought he might have been a Templar, but it's like it's reassuring to know that he's like at least on the assassin side, whether or not he's actually fighting with the assassins or is an assassin.
Yeah, just because he is bad guy does not mean he is a bad guy.
Yeah, but they said a lot of spoilers with like the assassins and his gauntlet, so it's like they couldn't go into it. So it's like I wonder what the story involves. You know, it could be very interesting. Because like I said, we saw the Raven before, and he was in human form, and he looked like an assassin. So Odin's ravens can be an assassin working with the assassins and shit. You know, secretly,
God,
which would be weird personifying the Raven. But I mean, at the same time. We're watching this guy stab him in the face. I mean, there's no lines.
He has Raven vision.
Raven,
which would be interesting. We were talking about that too. How you might get the Raven later on as like a power.
Oh, such a good trailer.
I love how it's like unavailable on every console. You know, it's not like exclusive. It's for like everything.
I love this like fucking assassins, but they're axes and they're intertwined. It's got the fucking braid thing going on. Just beautiful.
I think gotta fight them. I think it's very interesting that they put it on Xbox Series X, promoting it.
Alright, Cody, but like I have a question to ask you, which I asked John before, but we'll kind of talk about it. So, most Assassin's Creed games usually revolve around some kind of piece of Eden, you know, like Apple of Eden, the Shroud of Eden, Staff of Eden, Sword of Eden,
Yes. The
whatever
Axe of Eden.
whatever it was in like fucking Black Flag, like it was either the Skull or the Observatory. It was like one of them and shit. So it's like, do you think this game will have a piece of Eden? And if so, what is it? What is it? What will it be?
I mean, they've traditionally had it, so I assume it's going to be in here somewhere.
Somewhere, like hidden somewhere, right?
I mean, if they want to be real obvious with it, just make it an Axe of Eden. It's like
An
this
axe.
one cut down the first, or the holy tree, the one that fucking Eden took the apple from.
Yggdrasil
no.
tree, yeah. No, yeah, that could be interesting. The axe that broke down the tree that bore like but then you're getting more Christianity religion in there. I think they're gonna stick to Norse really and stuff. You know, even though it's all kind of connected in this universe, I think they're gonna stick to some Norse mythology and stuff. So the axe that maybe cut down Yggdrasil, the tree of life and stuff, you know, in Norse mythology, that could be an interesting one. It's just like a super OP axe. Me and John were considering maybe it could be actually Thor's hammer and shit, you know, another weapon, but it's like Thor's hammer, or maybe like
Stormbreaker, because that's part Axe.
or like an attachment, yeah, for an axe that gives you like lightning abilities and stuff. We were saying
I was actually talking about excuse me, Josh. I was actually saying that how with the axe it'd be cool if like the attachment is like you could actually hook up fucking Mjolnir, because you don't know what Mjolnir looks like in this Assassin's Creed thing. So just imagine having an axe and a hammer, like a double-bladed axe hammer, which would be pretty fucking rad that you can use.
I really hope Mjolnir is just like a really tiny, really tiny hammer that you can buy at like a Home Depot or something like that.
and then so yeah, there's in this game there's something with runes, like you can put on runes, would either be like enhancements or maybe you need runes to like upgrade like some
That
powers
is
or something.
Straight Witcher 3 right there.
So,
Possibly other Witchers, but I've only played 3.
So yeah, maybe like the piece of Eden is like a certain rune that like once you put on, like just makes you super OP. Like the thing with like the things with the pieces of Eden, like they always had like a specific power, like, you know, like the Apple of Eden, mind control, Shroud of Eden, healing and stuff, Staff of Eden, power, Sword of Eden. I think that one was like electricity based. Whatever the Skull Observatory was, it was for like looking at shit. So I was thinking if they're keeping up with like those basic kind of like specific powers, maybe the like piece of Eden could be the cosmic cube and stuff. But like with the twist that kind of makes it also like a rainbow bridge in a sense, where it's like when you have it and stuff, you can use it to kind of like teleport throughout the battlefield to like avoid like damage and shit, you know, here and there. So that way you're mixing the mythology with your own Assassin's Creed mythology, you know, like, you know, Rainbow Bridge, Cosmic Cube, along with a piece of Eden to like, you know, mesh it together. Or like me and John were even talking about like if they could go a completely different tangent and they can make like Odin's Raven literally the piece of Eden and stuff.
We also talked about how it'd be actually pretty interesting if you, literally like the beginning of the game you find an item and then you don't know what it is until like the middle or ending of the game, and literally you just
It's like the big reveal.
It's the big reveal that you've had the fucking piece of Eden the whole time.
Like, let's say, like, in the first battle, like, you're kind of strong or whatever, but then you get, like, knocked down, like, a pole, and then you find, like, this necklace or, like, a talisman, and you pick it up, and then you're suddenly super dope, and you're like, what the fuck was that I just picked up? And then, yeah, you go throughout the game, and then you meet up back with the assassins, and they're like, you have a piece of Eden? That's a piece of Eden. And you're like, what's that? Is it cool? It's mine, though. I found it.
Who's Eden?
Who's Eden? Yeah, you know what I mean? So that could be interesting too, where you like find an artifact and like throughout the entire game you're like, what the fuck is this? Maybe even sucks and you don't even equip it and stuff. Maybe it's something you can equip because you're like, it sucks, but at the end of the game you get the other part of it, and then when you connect it, it fucking super powerful, and you're like, holy shit, I've been carrying out half of a piece of Eden this entire time. So yeah, there's many, like, so I think we're all in agreement that there's definitely probably going to be a piece of Eden and stuff. But yeah, it's just like, it could be so many things. Like, if they go more into like the mythology, it could definitely be like Thor's hammer, Odin's staff, some shit like that. But if they go more into
Odin's eye patch.
Odin's eye patch, oh my god, yeah. But if they go more into like the realistic type of Assassin's Creed world and stuff, it could just be like a rune or something in England at the time that was really powerful. could be just like out of nowhere. It could just be a random item that they just shoehorn last second. But
It's just a rock.
it's just a rock. Yeah,
The
it could be
rock of
the
Eden.
entirety of Eden, the entirety of Britain, the entirety of England. Is just a piece of Eden.
It's like, well,
Uh,
I am now God.
but I was saying, it's like, if they explore like Iceland and stuff,
What's wrong?
like I said in the beginning of the game, they could find the
God.
piece of Eden there.
Well,
So
because
it's
now
like,
I'm God.
I am God.
I am your god now.
We were.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. I'm super excited for the game. Like, this trailer definitely got some hype.
I'm excited. This is like the first.
Waiting to
that's-
see some gameplay trailers
Well,
before I get myself too
That's
excited.
that's what I
Next
also. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about too. Xbox came out and said that they're gonna be doing an inside Xbox first gen what the next games are going to be for third parties. So Assassin's Creed said that they'll be there showing their first gameplay trailer for Valhalla. So I'm excited for that. So that's next Thursday. So we'll definitely break that down come Thursday. Definitely with whatever games they end up showing, but mostly it's going to be Valhalla that we'll discuss. But no, there's a lot of great stuff. I think this is honestly like the first time that I'm actually hyped about an Assassin's Creed game, and that's...
I mean, I'm always hyped, but like I fucking did research on Vikings
Of
and
course,
stuff.
I know
That's
you
how
did
know,
2
like,
pages.
Vikings are cool, dude.
Yeah.
That's
No.
what John was saying. It's like this the setting of Vikings is what enticed him to it, and I think
Yeah.
that's for sure. Which is why I think, because originally, like with the Easter egg from Assassin's Creed 3, it was supposed to be Origins, Odyssey, and then some kind of Japanese-based one. But I
Yes.
think they're just holding out on the Japanese one. One, because it's going to be super dope and they know it, so they're just literally holding that out until they need a banger. But I think it's they're like Assassin's Creed kind of feels a little derivative again, even though we fixed the mechanics. Origins was good. Odyssey was kind of derivative. Let's change it up even more. Vikings, no one's going to expect it. And little did they know, people were going to be jizzing themselves over this trailer.
Oh, God.
But great fucking trailer. A trailer that even has no gameplay in it. Fucking great trailer.
For fucking the cinematic world premiere, they did a phenomenal job, honestly.
I love Assassin's Creed cinematic trailers. They always get it
Oh,
so right.
they-
It just looks great.
The detail looks amazing in this one, though. You said, what, John? Like 15 studios working on this shit?
15 developers working on this. All of their Ubisoft, so like Ubisoft, Singapore, France, everywhere. All of Ubisoft's like major developers. This is why I think they said this is like the first time Ubisoft, or like I think any studios, use so many developers to just work on one game. So this, yeah, remember, this is, we have not seen an Assassin's Creed game in 2 years. The last one was Odyssey back in 2018. So it's been a while. So whatever this game is when it comes out with the gameplay Thursday, it has to be something spectacular to literally get all hands on deck for this one game. Like, with just the game mechanics, it seems very, very fascinating. It seems like nothing we've seen before, especially in an Assassin's Creed game.
Excited. It's been so long since I've been excited about an Assassin's Creed game. Oh my god.
It's gonna be dope, and I guarantee they're gonna like change up the mechanics just a little bit different from Odyssey, because that from Origins to Odyssey they did that little bit of tweak, so they're probably gonna do that little bit of tweak again, which is like, I'm excited because like I think it's gonna be a mixture of like Origins mixed with like the Ezio trilogy, where you get just like a various amounts of like different weapons that you can switch between and change out and like use in combat. Like the Ezio shit, you had like the rope launcher, the poison darts, smoke bombs and shit. You had just a variety of weapons that you had at your disposal. I like that. I think they're gonna kind of go back to that, along with like the new system where they have like the abilities and certain powers you can use.